The Wolfpack Show.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Wolfpack Show. I am Aaron Lee.
I'm Orlando Cardenas.
And with us, our executive producer, Miss Norma Luna.
Hey, thank you very much for having me here. It's always good to be on the show.
Awesome. Welcome, Norma. And again, thanks for watching again. We kind of took a little bit of a hiatus, but we're back. Today's topic, we're talking about seasonal depression. What is seasonal depression, guys? Not everybody knows what it is. Seasonal depression is, it's also called seasonal affective disorder, or the acronym of SAD, S-A-D. It's a type of depression that is triggered by the change of seasons. Most commonly begins right around the fall time. Yeah. Okay. Some of the symptoms, you see like sadness, weight gain, weight loss, oversleeping, lack of interest or in normal activities, lack of energy, irritability, lack of conversation with loved ones, and sometimes even the feeling of being trapped or overwhelmed with pretty much your day-to-day activities. There's also a lot of triggers, triggers that make these things happen, right? I know, Aaron, you've got a list of triggers that we can discuss there.
Yeah, so there's quite a few of them. Definitely this time, being the holiday season, a lot of families are together and some families are broken up. Right. I mean, it's just kind of what happens. So during those times, change of seasons really, as far as like the holiday seasons towards the end of the year, I know for me personally, I'm looking back at kind of everything that happened this past year, and it definitely doesn't put me in a good spirit to kind of move forward. I mean, the end of the year is great now, but looking back at kind of all the stuff that happened, so I know that can definitely be one of the main things. Also, too, going through and looking at old pictures, reflecting back, just kind of like how I said on the whole
Especially on
year.
social media right now that the memories come up. That's a hard one.
Media.
Yeah,
sure. That's definitely a new one as well. Definitely. When it comes to feeling energy, vibes, as far as music, listening to music sometimes, especially the holiday music. A lot of the holiday music, even though it's supposed to be happy and make you feel
joyful,
it's actually kind of sad.
See, and you know what? And I'm gonna touch on that real quick. You're right, because a lot of times, you'll hear a holiday song or Christmas song, and like me, I hear Blue Christmas, and I instantly think about my dad, which I'm blessed because I still have my dad right now. Right. But I also think about my brother. Even though my brother never celebrated Christmas, when we were kids, he loved Christmas and he loved Elvis. So, when my dad's gone, I'm going to remember my dad's favorite artist was Elvis and Blue Christmas and stuff like that. So, yeah, music definitely, can hit a sour note at times.
It can, because I remember when I was married, the first thing we did was have Mariah Carey, I know. Mm-hmm, yeah. We would have Mariah Carey, and then that's the first thing we put that on, and we would start decorating the house. That was our memory. So
that was your jumping.
That was our jumping in.
Part.
So, and people lose their family members, so that is understandable to have that as a trigger as well.
Yeah. So definitely with, the Christmas holidays, with Thanksgiving, with New Year's, a lot of money is involved, right? Because we're having to spend money. We're buying things for our loved ones, our kids, obviously, if they're good throughout the year.
Yeah.
Even
if they're little badasses, we still buy them stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. No, but
I do. At least I know
well,
that.
At least Santa does.
Well, yeah, Santa does, because we have a lot of little kids.
Yeah. No, but definitely, the end of the year is a time where we end up, spending a lot of money. So one thing, definitely the financial aspect of it when it comes to having to deal with that, especially towards the end of the year. And it's great that there's a lot of great programs, the Motivation,
we're
ministries
doing that one there,
that, donating toys and stuff to kind of help out with that, definitely. But what about for some of the older, the older people?
True.
Parents, us as parents too,
or even just bills in general, because you have the load of the bills already, right? The day-to-day expenses, and then now you have to go out and buy the PlayStation 5, and a lot of times we take on a little bit more than we need to on that end. That's maybe a little self-induced, but it does trigger something where we say, well, I can't afford to buy my kids stuff, and I can't afford to do this. There's even a jump in the crime rate when it comes to that. Because people know that you're out there buying stuff, or maybe they themselves, thieves have families too, and they want to give gifts, so they start stealing and trying to compensate for what they don't have and give to be able to give gifts. So truly the financial thing is a big issue.
And they also, with bills, like you were saying with bills, some families will tend to not pay their bills in order to make a really good Christmas.
And then afterwards, they're trying to catch up.
That's when they catch up, and that's when a lot of the seasonal depression can hit, because now they're short on their bills. Where are they going to get the money for the water bill or for the electric bill?
Or even financially, let's say I live here, and my family's in Ohio somewhere or whatever, and maybe I have to work. I can't afford to fly over there or to even drive over there. Winter, the weather's not as great, so it's usually cheaper to drive. But in bad weather, driving up north, or driving through the snow is not the best thing either. So that's another reason why people, because they're there by themselves, right?
Right.
Yeah. Lack of contact, definitely. There's a lot of people that are stationed, for school. Even like college kids are stationed in school. They can't go back home. Military can't go back home. A lot of that stuff can add to a lot of depression, as far as feeling lonely and not having anybody to talk to.
See, and that's the thing also, the loneliness, right? I know earlier, before the camera started, we always do a little talk, right, a little chit-chat, and we were talking a little bit about how sometimes men, and I'm going to talk on the men part, right? Because we know you're totally female, right? But men, we don't always have an outlet to talk to somebody about, our depression or what we're feeling. So sometimes we don't even recognize that we're having or we're going through depression, right? So, the loneliness kicks in because, again, you don't, some people are off from work, and a lot of times we just kind of communicate with people from work or at work, and then we go home and there's no one there, right? So, yeah, loneliness is definitely hard to battle.
I think definitely, too, kind of me on my end, one that I'll add to the list that you made is the weather, right? The weather's very gloomy. It's been really rainy, gloomy. There's leaves everywhere. I mean, it's definitely not like how the summer is nice and bright and hot and we're ready to jump in the pool and have fun.
Sure.
So that definitely is one of the things I think that adds to it, especially for me this past week. It's been really hard. Just kind of being around that type of weather, it's been pretty good.
It's funny because I saw a lot of posts where people are like, I'm sick of this weather. I'm over this weather. I'm done with the weather. Bring on the sun or whatever. Being in South Texas, we don't experience a lot of snow or rain rain we do, but like snow or gloomy days or whatever. But, we're not really made for being indoors all the time.
Right.
Being in South Texas, we like being outside and enjoying the sunlight and all that. So yeah, I feel you on that one, bro. I was in Corpus on Monday, and it was so much nicer over there than it was over here. Wow. I really just wanted to stay there for a little bit, because it was bright and sunny, not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
So, I don't blame you at all.
Absolutely. So let me ask, speaking of the seasonal depression, Norma, have you ever had seasonal depression?
I have. It's been a lot better now that I have a wonderful family of friends that I can talk to, I can reach out to. But there was a time, even when I was younger, and I will share this with people that when I was younger, I tried to commit suicide. I attempted. But, when you do something like that, especially, when you're young and you don't get treatment for it, that always lingers in the back of your mind. And it, even though I've healed from it, but sometimes it can rear its ugly head whenever you least expect it, especially during the holidays.
Sure.
Because I was married for almost 20 years. I was in a relationship for 5. My kids are grown up. They're not there anymore. So I'm by myself. So I'm there at home and nobody to talk to. I mean, I can reach out and talk to my friends, but not want somebody there physically to actually, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling right. I don't feel, I feel sad. Or
to even recognize that you're not yourself.
Because, I'm an open book. You can tell right away if I'm happy or if I'm sad. But, just being in that place and not having that outlet, can lead you into a dark hole that you don't want, that sometimes you don't want to get out of, because it's easier to be in that dark hole and
less
just
effort.
And just put that face up for everybody to think that you're okay.
So let me ask you this. I want to expand a little bit on that. Not because I want to put all your business out there. You share as much as you want, right? Yeah. But when the whole attempted suicide thing, right? And again, no one here, we're all best of friends. We don't judge each other. We don't judge you guys either. But what do you think caused or led up to just wanting to do that? Excuse me.
Just the lack of having just loving myself.
Okay.
And
Self-worth.
Not being able to talk to somebody about my feelings and not feel like I'm being judged. That I didn't feel worthy at the time because I had just had a daughter and I was with a guy. Had a relationship that just wasn't going right. And I thought, even though I had a responsibility at, 18 years old, I thought it was the end of the world for me.
Sure.
So I, slit my wrist and went to the emergency room. Then I realized, what am I doing? But like I said, that's what happened, is I didn't feel that self-worth. I didn't feel that I could talk to somebody, even though I was in a home with parents. But sometimes the people you think that are at home, they're not the people that you feel comfortable or opening up to, because it's a reciprocal thing.
Yeah.
If I feel like I can call you or you, there's not going to be any judgment there. And sometimes when you talk to your parents, and some people feel this way, and not all parents are the same, but sometimes when you feel that you can if you do talk to your parents, you feel like they're gonna judge you, they're gonna tell you something, and sometimes it is true that stop being a wuss, get over it, and that's what I was afraid of. But that, to answer your question.
Well, see, and you know what, you made a lot of good points there, Norma. I'm gonna kind of jump off the one where you said, talking to the family members about it. Again, everybody's going through the whole day-to-day motions of life, and you're right. You may not feel like if you can talk to your husband or your wife or your parents, right? But sometimes we also put ourselves in a position where we overthink the situation, and we say, oh, they're gonna be judgmental. But in all essence, we don't know. I mean, it is best, but you kind of always you feel that, like, you feel like, I know I can call this guy up, and I can call you up, and I can be like, hey, like, check this out, and we do that to each other all the time.
Right.
Like, I'm not feeling right. I don't know what's going on, but I know I'm not myself.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
Recently, I'll share this personally. I'll be as vulnerable as possible, but I've never attempted suicide. No judgment on anybody who has. I know there's, and we're gonna kind of go through some numbers here in a bit, but there's a large number of the population that has. I've never actually wanted to kill myself, but I have felt at times that I thought maybe I would be better off if I was to die at that point, because
Right.
there's times I was just going through so much pain and hurt that I just said to myself, like, if I just cease to exist right now, I'd be okay with it, right? So is it the same as thinking about or contemplating suicide? Not really, but is it? Does the seasonal depression contribute to that? Absolutely, or to that? Absolutely. It's something that you contemplate because there's so much going against you. And like Aaron said, the weather, the finances, the loneliness and all that stuff. And before you know it, you're just like in this huge whirlpool of just negativity, and it just kind of sucks you down, right? So, Aaron, what about you, man? Have you ever thought about it, or you ever been depressed?
No, I mean, I kind of I always say, I kind of want to see where this shit goes.
Yeah,
I'm kind of that guy. Like, I want to, even when I'm at my lowest, or it's, and I've been in some tough situations. I'm like, I want to see how this shit goes, man.
See, and I'm the same way. Yeah, but have you ever been depressed? Have you ever?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, because see, I mean, this is not a show about suicide. I mean, it does
Right.
happen, right? Depression leads to suicide, but this show is about seasonal depression, how it happens, how to recognize it, things like that. So we agree.
Yeah, definitely.
And it happens to everybody, right?
I think, for me personally, just because of my personality and kind of how I'm already programmed, I always try to see the positive of whatever's going on. Like 2020, I caught COVID during Christmas, when Christmas was jumping into New Year's. So Christmas and New Year's, I had no contact with my kids. I was in my house alone.
Wow.
Didn't talk to anybody. But I saw it as an opportunity for me to get closer to God, right? And I ended up finding some of my the peaceful times that I've had in my entire life was during that whole 2 weeks that I was under quarantine by myself. So for me, I think it's finding the silver lining, right, in the gray clouds.
Right.
See, and I want to say this, look, as a personal motivator and an all-out positive guy, you guys know me, I'm always positive. When I lost my brother, that put me in a place where I've never been before, okay? I've lost a lot of people that I loved, but I never lost like my number one. That guy is, and probably always will be my number one. Aside from my kids, that was my guy. I loved my brother so much, and I still love him. But that put me in a place, and then all these other things. It's almost like the devil knows, like all these other things just start piling up on top of it, right? So as a strong-minded, strong-willed, very positive person with nothing to complain about, I really have nothing in life to complain about. I'm blessed, but it happens. So don't ever feel like if you're far from or you're too strong to be depressed. It does happen. I mean, the good thing is that some of us sometimes we can pull ourselves out of it.
Right.
Others, they go a little darker, a little deeper, and they require professional help.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, the idea is not everybody thinks the same, right? Not everybody functions the same way. We don't all bounce back the same way.
But it's also good, that to find somebody, even if it's just to talk to them, just to vent and just let them know, hey, I just need to talk to somebody. And then having that connection with that person, finding it and just letting somebody know that you don't feel right. And you just need to make sure that you push forward. You have to try and push forward. Because I wouldn't tell somebody, if they told me, I wouldn't tell them to just get over it.
Yeah, and it happens a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of people say, "Oh, be stronger, you're better than that. Get over it, move on." I've heard that. I've heard people tell other people that, and I'm like, no, that's not really the best advice to give somebody.
Right.
Me having a psychology background, I know you don't say that to somebody.
Right.
I'm more of the, and you guys hear me say this all the time. Excuse me. I'm more of the, hey, look, I'll laugh with you all day long, but if you want to sit and cry,
I'll
cry with you.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and I'll cry with you. If you want to lay in the rain, I'll lay in the rain with you. Because I want my friends to always know, and my family members to always know that I'm approachable. Yeah. I am not this hard ass motherfucker that all day long. Nothing penetrates this iron. Shit gets through.
Yeah.
I do what I do because I have a heart. And because I have a heart, I'm open to allowing that to come in. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna share something with you guys that I've never shared with. I don't share with just anybody, right?
Right.
And I don't think I've ever shared this with you guys, but I don't know if it's a calling or what it is. I won't call it a gift because I wouldn't wish this on anybody, but I never fails. New Year, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I think I've told you before,
yes.
And I've told one of the females that was in our mentee group one time. Excuse me, but from I want to say 8 o'clock to about 3 o'clock. 8 o'clock on Christmas Eve to 3 o'clock on Christmas Day, I'm on suicide watch. Okay, and Jonathan's back there shaking his head because he knows personally. Yes. But I'm on suicide watch, and I tell people all the time, if you need me, call me. Right. They may not know why I'm saying that, but they feel it. And when they want to call somebody, the first thing people have told me that they think about is, I remember Orlando said I can call him. Yeah. And I'm telling you, this is like 16 years straight. I'm hoping that it doesn't happen this year. But 16 years straight, I have sat and waited for phone calls that come in.
Right.
Every single time. Friends calling me to tell me that, hey, I'm not feeling well. I think I'm going to kill myself. Or, hey, I'm really, really sad. I mean, I've picked up calls from exes, from ex-family members. I mean, friends, colleagues. I got a phone from a customer one time, and the guy was just, I don't know why, I just felt like I wanted to call you. And he says, I'm about to blow my head off, he says.
Wow.
I'm like in a really bad spot. I had, like I said, that one young lady that I mentioned, she called me and said, hey, my nephew just hung himself.
I remember you saying
Yeah,
that.
he literally just like right now, you're the first person I called. I don't know what to do. I'm thinking about doing the same thing. And I said, I'm on my way. And maybe that's why I've never really had a Christmas. Because for those that don't know, my family, half of my family, they're Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't celebrate Christmas and New Year and Thanksgiving and all that stuff. They're great people. We celebrate a lot of things together.
Right.
We celebrate life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like a routine where every Christmas Eve we're together, Christmas Day. And I don't always have my kids at that time either. It just so happened last year I had my kids, right? But I think, and I've always felt, not think, but I've always felt really strong in my heart that God has kept me available for when people need to call me for that. And I don't advertise that. I'm very simple about, hey, if you need me, call me. That's it. Now, y'all know, everybody knows that, right? But I'm telling you, for the last 16 years, every single year, and this year, I almost beat the buzzer. Like, the call came like right on Christmas Day. I thought, oh, wow, this is going to be the first year where I don't get that call, but I did. So there's people out there, and what kind of advice would you guys have? Aaron, I'll start with you. Like, what kind of advice would you have for someone, who's either feeling depressed or kind of even thinking about suicide? Aside from the obvious, call the suicide hotline and get help or whatever.
I mean, it all starts in the mind, right? Like it's all mental, bro. And your mind is the general, your body are the troops, right? So I think putting yourself in that state, listening to motivational YouTube videos or maybe some type of music. So I have on my playlist, I have different playlists on my phone, but one of them it's called Happy, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's all the like badass songs from like high school or like something that I've listened to that kind of like brought back good memories. Sure. So I'll start listening to it and it'll snap me out of whatever I'm in.
Because music can do that to you
instantly, yeah. Because it's energy, it's vibes.
Yeah.
It can put you depressed or it can make you happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I do personally to kind of get me out of a funk that I'm in. Mm-hmm. I'll listen to some good music. Dude, spiritual music works really great. Right. I mean, if you're not a believer, if you're not going down that path, then I completely understand. Find something that relates to you, maybe that goes back, like I was talking about. But spiritual music will always get me out of a
See, I love that, and you know why spiritual music works? Because the Bible says when we sing to God songs of praise, it's like we're praying twice, right? Yeah. So you really are bringing in good energy, with spiritual music. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
yeah. Sometimes those spiritual songs are actually Bible verses.
Sure.
That are passages,
they're Psalms. Yeah.
They're Psalms.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. And they're also they're faith, and they're also kind of a motivation, but also they're inspiring to you because some of the songs, some of the lyrics are about things that other people have gone through or they've been saved by.
Sure.
By
like personal testimony
listening and hearing the word. So that would be my recommendation on the two things that I would say would be at the absolute top to do.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right, great points, Norma.
Well, I mean, that just happened to me recently, not maybe a couple months ago, where a friend of mine actually told me that he didn't feel like his life was worth living. He was not happy with his life at all, and this was in a social setting when he told me in my ear. Mm-hmm. And then he ended up calling me, and I was on the phone with him for about 2 hours. Best thing to do is listen. Yeah. Listen to the conversation, what they're saying. My ex-husband he did a hostage negotiation class, because he used to for the job that he had, and I was very intrigued on his training. So he told me this would probably be something good that you could benefit because you're that approachable person. Yeah. People like to talk to you.
You got like a nurturing
right.
kindness.
So when he talked to me, it was all about listening. Mm-hmm. It's not saying, I know, unless you understand it.
Unless
personally,
you've been there,
do not say I understand.
And you'd be surprised how many people actually do that.
Right. Yeah. And I'm very cautious and cognizant of what you're telling me and just repeating the information because then they know that you're listening. Yeah. But the biggest thing is telling them that you're going to be there for them if you really are going to be there. Don't tell somebody I'm here for you. Yeah. And then the day that they call you, you're not. I can't be there because that happened a year ago with one of my friends and he did end up committing suicide. And I felt so bad because I didn't answer the call at that time. And I didn't find out until a couple months later.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
And it was a heartbreaking experience. But I use that. I don't blame myself for what happened because I can't. But I know that I'm there for this gentleman here. But I also push them to talk to a pastor or somebody in our community that we
because there's people you can go to for
exactly that. And because you can't hold that burden on your own because you're not a professional.
Yes, absolutely.
But you can be there to talk to them and let them know that they're not alone. That because I was able to share with him that I felt the same way at one point. But the best thing for him to do is just tell him that, hey, let's talk to somebody. If you feel this way, just please don't do anything because then you're going to affect not just yourself, but you're going to affect the family that you love.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, and on both of those are great points. A lot of times, again, we want to do the whole judgment thing. I think judgment is one of the worst things there can be.
Right.
When you're sitting there thinking, I'm better than this person, or I should be doing this, I should be doing that, or, wow, that person's weak because they're thinking about killing themselves. As much as I love Andrew Tate, there's a segment in there he talks about suicide, like, just get over it, do this and that. Not everybody's him, right? Not everybody has that mentality, that strong mindset. It works for me. It works for you. It may not work for her,
No.
right? Or vice versa, right? But the whole get over it, suck it up. I mean, it's such a guy thing for us to say to somebody. Just move on. And a lot of times because we do those things and because we ourselves, when someone tells you just get over it or move on or whatever, I don't want to hear that stuff anymore. It's because most times than none, they're afraid to be vulnerable themselves.
Right.
They don't want to be, because they think if I sit here and talk about the problems you're having that I might be having myself, it's going to expose a whole other side of me that I'm not prepared for this person to see.
Right.
And are they going to judge me back? So the whole sitting down there and listening and not being judgmental goes both ways because, again, I don't know. There's been many times that I've gotten phone calls that, again, on, Christmas or Christmas Eve. And that day last year, actually, I got 3 phone calls after that one. I got 2 more after that one. Okay. But, I mean, I'm prepared because not because I study books about psychology and all that. I'm prepared because I pray. Okay, that's my thing. I pray. I channel my relationship with God, and I'm not perfect. Y'all know me. I am not the perfect Christian. I'm not like a saved. I mean, I'm a saved soul, but I'm not the guy that walks around thumping his Bible and pointing his finger at you. But I do know what my relationship with God is like, and because of that, I know He uses me. Just like before we started this whole podcast, we prayed out there.
Right.
We prayed not to be the person that knows it all, because we're not. We're not professionals, right? We want to put that out there. We prayed to be vessels of God's word because, I mean, honestly, this is a crazy world, and the devil's out there doing his thing. So I tell people all the time, if you can seek help, first and foremost, professional medical help, right? Talk to a psychologist, a psychiatrist. Talk to somebody, get in there. And there's a lot of programs. Yeah. And second of all, join a church group. Because, I mean, if you're out there singing and praising and worshiping and all that, even they'll help you with a lot of things. Some churches will even help you with bills. So and last but not least, I don't try to fix anybody.
Right.
Does that make sense? Aaron's got his quirks, and Norma's got her quirks, and I've got my quirks, probably 10 times more than they do. But we don't try to fix each other. We help each other as far as we can. But I always recommend don't try to fix somebody, right?
And that's what I appreciate about having such a good family friendship, because I can be myself, I can be honest, and there's times where I can call Aaron and say, hey, you know what, I'm this is what's going on with me, and he'll be straight up like you will. You both of them, everybody here will be straight up with me and tell me, look, let's work on this, let's do this. If I'm not feeling well, there's always that. I know that in my heart that I can call and say, hey, can you help me out here? Yeah. And there's no judgment. It's about having that relationship with the people here, that it's just that trust, and it's hard to find that with a group of people, but you can find somebody to talk to.
For sure. And see, and the problem that people don't see this is that the heart and the mind hold wounds that the body will not reveal.
Right.
Okay. So if I can look at Aaron, that guy's, he's fit, he's in good shape. I don't know, if he smiles and I say, hey bro, how you doing? And if he says, I'm good, based on just watching his physical appearance, my boy's good. I move on, right?
That is the biggest thing.
Well, it is, because how many times have I called you and said, hey Norma, how you been? Like, oh, I'm good. Like,
okay.
How are you really doing? Right? We do that to each other all the time, But
we can tell.
Yeah, you can tell because you spend that time with each other, right? You know each other's hang-ups and stuff. And demeanors and all that good stuff. So, but again, not trying to fix anybody, just trying to be open and be available,
Right. I mean, because I'm pretty sure, Aaron, you've seen people that have that happy face, they're always happy-go-lucky, and then all of a sudden you find out, like Robin Williams, that's what I wrote down. Everybody thought he was the happiest person, gave off this great persona, and he was the saddest person on earth.
I've known people, one of the funniest guys I ever knew when I got into real estate. He was just hilarious. He was a lender, and he ended up taking his own life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you probably would never in a million years thought it would be him, right?
Shit out of me, yeah, for sure.
No, I bet.
Wow. See, and it happens. These things are out there. Maybe had we known the signs, and I mean, it wasn't yours to fix, right? But maybe you weren't close enough to him to see that.
But sometimes you don't know the signs.
You just don't know.
Man.
You just don't know.
Even at that time,
don't portray them.
He had just gotten a brand new girlfriend that was with him, and she didn't even know. I mean, she didn't even.
It just happened.
It was a surprise to everybody, bro.
Wow.
You just don't know, bro. I think, to me personally, I think you know, alcohol and drugs is a segue for evil spirits,
of course,
right? And that shit, dude, you know, I think opens up the doors for so many other things where you allow something else to just completely take control of your body. And I think a lot of cases too have to do with a lot of stuff like that, man. Honestly,
because you do something under the influence that you wouldn't do before,
Exactly.
because now there's nothing to in other words, your rational thought doesn't kick in, right? Because rationally thinking like, do I really want to do this to myself? No, but when I'm drunk, it's like, screw it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's just
that is so true, because even like during COVID, when I was literally alone and you can't go anywhere, you know, I was drinking. You know, everybody was drinking. It's like I was drinking.
I'm drinking now, but I wasn't drinking then.
No, I was. You know, I was drinking wine, and all of a sudden, you know, just so sad and depressed, and it's like your mind starts to go to these places where you wouldn't have been going
for sure
if you weren't under the influence.
Sure.
See, those are good points. I like that, and it's true. You know, the worst thing you want to do when you're in that state of mind is just keep, you know, drinking.
You would think the opposite. You would think you want to. And I put a post up last night about that. You know, somebody who's going to encourage you and be on your side is not going to try to put those things on you as far as when you're going through shit, right? You want to be sober. You want to kind of hit the problem head on. You know, once you start to drink, you start to do the drugs, you start to do all that stuff. It kind of just starts to down spiral now.
And that's when the enemy comes in and says that when you're at your lowest.
That's his cherry on top of it.
Exactly. He's all like, come
you're
to
weak,
daddy.
your defenses are down. You know, that's what the Bible says, stay sober and diligent, right? Because the enemy walks around.
That was
but see,
really
I saw that post, and I loved it because, you know, it showed a vulnerability of my guy here. You know, I love him, and he's a very strong guy, but, you know, I'm starting to see a side of him that I really hadn't seen before. And love will do that to you, right? You know, it'll open you up to be able to say, okay, I don't think just for me anymore, which is where I'm at. You know, I think for me, of course, I think for my kids and my family, but 9 times out of 10, I'm by myself, so I have to think for myself. But I see that in him, and I say, okay, that's a guy that's telling everybody out there that you do have it's good to have someone to kind of lean on. You know, and the worst thing you want to do to somebody, if you love somebody and you see them depressed, don't add to their problems. You know, like, don't be that guy. What kind of a jerk move is that?
Well, there's going to be good influences and bad influences in life, man. And for having that partner by your side, that person has to be 100, bro.
For sure.
Because if not, they're going to bring you down, and they're going to drown, and they're going to take you down with you.
See, and you know, it's funny because my grandfather used to always tell me that a good woman, you know, a good partner won't drown you, right? It's like when someone's drowning in the water. You know, a lot of times the person that winds up drowning for good is the one trying to save them. Yeah, because they become an anchor at a certain point. So you have to really be able to you know, say to somebody, hey, look, you know, I see you going through this stuff. You know, like I said, the last 3 months, I hadn't recognized it until maybe last month that I was going through a little bit of a season of depression. I really was. And this is my first time. I've never experienced this before. And, you know, I started working up later, and I put on more weight. Just a lot of things. I had to kind of, it's hard to self-evaluate yourself, but I had to analyze myself. I had to evaluate myself and say, okay, wait a minute. Something's up.
You got to check yourself.
Yeah, I got to check myself because there was no one there. See, you guys, I mean, you're in the same boat. Yeah. You know, you guys can take care of each other and things like that. But, you know, we do have to kind of like, okay, step back. I'm doing something different that I wasn't doing before. Right. You know, hey, Norma, I know you got some stats, some suicide stats, and we want to put those out there because I think these are important. This is going to kind of tie everything together. So I'll go ahead and let you do that then.
Okay, so just so that you all know, there are a lot of suicide statistics that come up to play, you know, during this time of year. And, you know, suicide was among the 10 leading causes of death in the U.S. in 2020. And it's the second leading cause of death among children aged 10 through 14 and adults aged 25 to 34 years.
Okay, so it's not just an adult thing. You know,
it's a child
parents,
thing too.
I mean, we're going to say it. Keep an eye on your kids, not just for this reason, but for many other reasons.
They go through a lot, man.
Yeah, they really
go through a lot, bro.
There's stresses with school and bullies and
Life
all kinds of stuff.
If you think about it, you know, we stress out and get depressed on social media.
Okay.
Now, imagine kids that don't know how to handle those pressures,
Sure.
how they get bullied.
Yeah, because
not
we
just
have
in school,
40 plus years of life experience
not
compared
just
to
in
10
school,
or 15.
but they're
Yeah.
getting bullied on social media and getting embarrassed. So that's why the statistics have gone up.
That makes perfect sense.
And also in 2020, while females are more likely to attempt suicide, male deaths made up roughly 80% of all suicides.
Okay, so that's an important number.
Yes.
Okay, we are, with the exception of having Norma on here, we are a male empowerment show. Okay, what we mean by that is we're trying to empower the men to be better, to do better, right? Ourselves included. We preach to ourselves all the time, but that's big. 80% of all suicides, bro,
Right.
are males.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
crazy.
that is a huge number.
And I can
huge
tell
number.
you one of the reasons why, because men have this tendency of not talking to people.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things of the hostage negotiation class that my ex-husband did, is that the majority of the hostage takers are men because they didn't have somebody to talk to, while women just openly communicate with anybody. They're like, "Oh, girl, you should."
I mean,
not believe
I've
what
talked to
happened
women
here.
on the street, or they just want to open up
They
and I'll
just want
listen.
to open up,
Yeah.
but that's because we have that vulnerability to be able to talk to people, and men don't. And,
Well, and that makes
and y'all
sense.
get judged for
Yes,
it if
for
you
sure.
do, especially with women.
See, and that makes perfect sense because honestly, look, if I took a hostage right now, if I'm going to hurt somebody, I'm just going to hurt them. But if I took a hostage, what am I in essence doing? I'm saying, hey, everybody,
cry for help.
I need
listen
help.
to me.
Right,
Yes, it's a cry for
exactly.
help. Listen to me. I need help. These are my demands, right?
Right.
Aside from just malice thought, it's what it is. It's a cry for help.
Yes.
Okay? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. So suicide declined slightly overall from 2019 by 2% for males and 8% for females. Overall, the suicide rate decreased by 3%, which is actually good.
That's good. That's
a good
progress.
thing.
Yeah, I think because there's more mental health awareness
Right.
out there
Especially
than there was
after
before.
COVID, because they noticed that there was so many people that were
Sure.
depressed
Yeah.
during that time.
And we don't
because
know.
they were
We don't
alone.
know what COVID effect it had on us too.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
mental.
Aside from the physical, there was
A lot of mental.
horrible mental effect on us. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And then in 2020, 12.2 million adults reported serious thoughts of suicide, while 1.2 million attempted suicide.
Wow, that's a big number right there.
That is huge.
Okay, so now I noticed that remember back in the day, the national hotline, suicide hotline was like
188.
yeah, this
now
huge
it's,
number that no one would ever remember.
We'll put the number up.
Yeah,
too.
now, and we're going to put that number, like Aaron said on the show, but now it's simple. You dial 988 and you're in.
and you can even text.
Yeah, I mean,
988.
how easy is that to remember
988.
nowadays? Right?
988.
988. You dial 988. And you can talk to somebody, which is awesome. Hey, everybody, we really want to thank you guys for all the support. We know that every single show helps us grow and grow and grow. We're trying to do more man on the street type of deals. We're trying to get out there and just work with the public and with our followers and things like that. So. Can you do us a favor? Can you help us grow by liking and subscribing to our pages, by telling people about us? If you want us to come out and do a live remote, we'd be more than happy to come out there in your place of business, or wherever, you can come out there and do a live remote with you guys. If you have show topic ideas, let us know. You can message myself or at the Orlando Cardenas. Or Mr. Aaron Lee at what's your social media?
Oh, it's a long one, man.
Okay, so
it's just Aaron Lee.
Okay, or Norma.
me.
We we're out there, and you guys can shoot us your information. But on behalf of myself and the Wolfpack Show, I want to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I want to say this, before I sign off, is that there's more people willing to listen than you really think there are. If you're suffering from something, and my friends know, or my acquaintances know, you can always reach out to me. But find somebody that you can have an actual open relationship with. Be vulnerable with somebody. It doesn't pay you to be fake or phony. Just be yourself with even if it's with one person that can truly know who you are. Okay. With that being said, I'm gonna thank Miss Norma for being with us.
Thank you all. It's been a pleasure, and just know that there's always somebody here to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Leonard the Barber,
Yes.
also Randon Works Photography, our cinematographer, first class credit repair, as well as Rhino Clean auto detailing products. And also, we want to let you guys know that we're also doing the Motivation Ministries. We're helping out getting toys. I know you guys see all the toys in the back.
These are just a little bit. So. We have a bunch of them back
there,
but we can always use more.
Yeah, definitely. We'll put all the information up for that as well. I think they're going to be doing it till what, the 18th?
Yeah, to the 17th.
Or 17th.
Yeah,
of December.
17th actually is the day they're doing the giveaway.
The giveaway. So you guys still have time. Let's help out some of these families here in the local San Antonio area. So
so all these toys stay local. We'll be giving them out on the 17th at Brewster's Backyard Ice House. Shout out to Norm.
Yeah.
I also do want to do a shout out to the Dough Stepping crew. We did a toy drive this past weekend,
awesome.
and it was really good. A lot of great response. They're a great group too. So shout out to Dough Stepping group and also the Motivation Ministry. And once again, I'm Orlando Cardenas.
Aaron Lee.
I'm Norma Luna.
And we are the Wolfpack Show. Thank you guys so much. Have a great afternoon.
Bye.